Well, thanks for tuning into the channel today. Today I've got uh, thanks for tuning into our channel today. Today I've got a cigar review for you guys. This was a cigar that was given to me by the PDR rep who came by a few weeks ago now. He's the same one who left me those A crops. You can see that review. I think I posted that about 4 or 5 reviews ago. And this one is their Setenta. This is a 70 by 7. So this thing is a stinking monster. Either I don't remember ever smoking a 70 by 7 or I've never smoked a 70 by 7. So this is going to be one that is going to be unique, I guess. I have smoked... Let's see, I've smoked, I know 60 by 6s for sure. And then I want to say I've smoked a box pressed 6 by 70, and that was a box press. That one was interesting and took a long time. So this one's got a whole nother inch on it, about the size of this red part right here, this little foot band. So I'm not sure how long this thing is going to take, but you know, why don't we time it and see how long it's going to take. So right now it is 5:16 it looks like. So we'll start this off at 5:16 and see what happens. This is just their natural sun-grown. It smells like a natural sun-grown as well. It's got some leatheriness, it's got some dustiness to it. It's got some kind of chocolatey tobacco tones as well. Here on the band it says Flores y Rodriguez Tambroil. There's that band right there. It's got a little embossment to it, and it's got that handmade on the side, and of course the PDR star right there. If you hadn't had anything by PDR, I definitely recommend you check them out. Like I said, I got a few samples from the rep who came in a few weeks ago, and I've liked all of them so far. So I'm gonna cut this one up and do a cold draw. So one thing I noticed about this wrapper is it's very thick. Even as I was cutting it open, it has a very thick, leathery feeling wrapper. It looks like it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 caps on it. It's what it looks like. 4, maybe only 3, but it looks like there's 4 caps on this, and I would imagine that that's just because of its girth. There's a few veins in this. I would say nothing that's bad, but 2 that really kind of jump out on me. One right there, and then one here on this side. But for being such a large cigar, it kind of adds another layer of aesthetics for it. Like, hey, look how big my cigar is, and there are some veins right there to go with it. So I feel ridiculous having this in my mouth. It's got some kind of real fresh young tobacco flavors to it. It's got a little bit of oiliness to it here on the wrapper. It seems kind of hard to even fit in my mouth. You know, back when I first started smoking cigars, I was always like, bigger is better, and now I am definitely not that. So this being the biggest cigar I've ever smoked is going to be an experience, to say the least. Yeah, I would say that's kind of it. I don't get any like coffee tones. It's not dark at all. It's definitely just kind of those like fresh young tobacco tastes. So I'm gonna light this one up. On these big cigars like this, it's very important to get a good first light on it, just because there's so much girth to it that it can easily burn off to the side one way or another, because it's not like a Robusto where you can just put your flame on there and it's it's kind of lighting all the cigar all at once, whereas this one you got to make sure you're going around real good. So it comes out spicy right away. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that Setenta, but this one definitely has some spices. It's got a real kind of thick oiliness feel on the lips. It's got some spices on the lips, but it's really getting you there, right there in the front of the tongue for this spice. There's definitely kind of like there's definitely some piney wood tones in there. I would say some pine, or maybe some. I'm gonna go with ash and not necessarily oak. Definitely woods on the exhale. I feel like there's some other things in there. The wood tone is kind of covered by like this layer, by that layer of oiliness. So kind of an oily feel, but almost like a creamy taste. But I think the oiliness is kind of fooling your taste buds into thinking that it's more of a creamy taste when it's I don't think it is. Yeah. So there it is. Interesting. Spice is definitely covering everything else right off the bat. So I'm going to work at this one and be back with this first third in 1 sec, and we're going to see how this monster turns out. The first third of this here Flores y Rodriguez, this Tambroil. Here, I'll say the first third, it's just kind of been a general tobacco flavor. There hasn't been anything really coming out. There's still a little bit of that spice. It was just more on the first light, though. And I think it was because I didn't actually have anything else so far during the day that it kind of, the spice really got me there in the beginning. The smoke production has been excellent. Here's the burn right there. I did have to touch this up with the lighter one time, but it's because we're playing Sega Bass Fishing 2, and I've been putting it down and whatnot. So I would say this is a very good fishing cigar. But overall, just kind of one note. I would say that nice fish, man. I would say that overall, the flavors are just a general tobacco, and then kind of some wood hanging around there in the back on the exhales when you really know it. So I'm gonna get here in the second third and be right back in 1 sec here, guys. Time. So I am through the second third of this here big old fatty. Hey, through the second third, the flavors really haven't changed much. Something I will say about these big cigars, I've noticed that they don't get a whole lot of flavor changes. And I really think that's due to a number of things. One, it's because of the wrapper. You're getting a lot more filler to wrapper ratio than if you were doing like a Robusto or a Toro or especially a Corona. And number two, you're smoking it so long that your taste buds on your tongue are kind of just being worn out. They're just constantly being coated with the smoke, because you have to keep going. You have to keep drawing on it so often to keep it burning. And that's just, I'm talking big cigars in general. You have to keep puffing on it consistently to keep it burning because it's so big that you're really just kind of mashing your tongue over and over again with these flavors. So I would say here in the second third, it's just real light wood tones. There's basically a general tobacco smell that's coming out in the air as well. I would say overall this is a very light cigar. It's definitely not heavy. It's a real easy smoke, which is, I think, something you would intend for such a large cigar because you're going to be smoking it for so long. This is definitely a cigar that you would kind of light and then do things either throughout the day, or if you were hanging out with buddies or you're going fishing and you want something to just kind of, leave in your mouth or chew on, this would be right up that alley. The draw is fantastic. Of course, you see I got a nice big old fat hole in here, so it should be. One thing I will say about this cigar that's impressed me is how brightly the ash is burning. It's kind of hard to tell right now, but anytime I go to tap it, the ash is extremely white. There's hardly any gray left on it at all. So it's getting a real nice burn. I will say that I do have to keep relighting it, because anytime I go to put it down to play a couple minutes on the game or something, it definitely goes out. So I've had to relight this, oh gosh, 5 or 6 times, just because you've got to put it down because it's so big. It's really hard to hold in your mouth while you're trying to do something. Just because it's so big and it's kind of got that smoke going up your nose. So overall, it's a good cigar so far. I don't think I'm going to get any changes in this last third. The flavors, like I said, are what they are, and we'll see where this goes here in the last third. See if I get anything else. So I'm in the last third of this PDR, the 70 by 7. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right here. I've got about 2 inches left on this thing, but it's just too much. I think it's just kind of too much tobacco to kind of take in all in one sitting, if you will. But I wanted to hold on to this ash to see how long it's getting. It's getting about this long before I finally have to tap it off, and it just kind of crumbles away. I think my biggest complaint about this cigar, which would be kind of in general with large cigars like this, 70 by 7 and 80 by 8, which I don't know how anybody can really smoke. It just takes a long time to smoke, and it's so much tobacco that it's just kind of hard to digest all at once, if you will. When it stays lit, the smoke production is excellent. You can see some of that nice bright white ash that's going on in there. Here in the last third, it's just been kind of general tobacco and wood flavors. Like I said, my tongue feels pretty scorched and kind of just done. So overall, I feel like it's kind of hard to enjoy such a large cigar just because it's so much. So I would say that this is definitely a good cigar. I feel like I would have enjoyed the cigar a whole lot more if it had been like a Robusto or a Toro size, and I definitely would have smoked it all the way down to the end. This has been kind of a one-note cigar. Like I said, it had a little bit of spice there in the beginning. With those wood tones, and then it's just kind of turned into wood and then tobacco, and that was about it. Not really much else to say. So not a real complex cigar, and kind of hard to keep burning, but only because of its size. So I would say overall a good cigar. I would recommend a little bit smaller size though, if you are going to pick this one up. If you're not there already, brothersfinetobacco.com. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and make Adam happy with all that. Thanks for watching. Boondocks. Under the boondocks. Under the boondocks.